What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the show. We are your hosts, Chase and Myles, and we are back, baby.
Season 7, let's go, bitches.
Woo, woo, woo! At the Lucky Duck. Myles, I think you got your seasons mixed up.
Oh, Season 3.
Season 3.
I just wanted it to sound cooler.
Chum, chum, chum. We're back. We're bigger than ever. We're uglier than ever. We're dumber than ever.
Saying more controversial stuff.
Yep.
We're going to say things about Chase.
Yeah. The season is green. The backdrop. You guys can't see it. Well, you can see it kind of right down here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. If you're just listening, too bad for you. But also, thank you. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
It's been a pleasure.
The bar has not changed.
No. I mean, it's pretty much the same. There's like a lot of less bottles back there because Chase is an alcoholic and he drank them all.
I drank every single one of them. Had to re-up. I will say, couple things that are different. Morale is up.
Yeah.
Charisma is up.
For who?
Mostly me.
In general.
I'm just speaking generally for myself.
All right.
Morale's not up for you?
Well, it could be. I was just curious. Like the whole team.
The whole team is at Lucky Broadcasting is extremely excited.
I don't know if the guys in the back are like they're kind of giving us weird faces.
The producers do not look like their morale is up. But the talent.
Oh, the talent. Yeah. I mean, that's all that matters.
We got a brand new contract.
Yeah.
We got
making a lot more money this year.
We're making tons more money. And we're back. We're ready. Cheers. Here we go.
Cheers.
Boom.
To orange stuff.
To one of the best looking drinks out there. We are drinking, Myles, what are we drinking? You probably don't know.
It's an orange martini.
It's not.
Okay.
But it is called the Bitter Monk. And it is a recipe created by Tom Schlesinger. I just fucked that all up. But he's of the Island Creek Oyster Bar in Boston, Massachusetts.
Let's
Cheers
go,
to
Tom.
you. Thanks, Tom.
Tom DeLong.
And this cocktail was featured in Esquire magazine. One of the cocktails of the week. It is a rum-based drink. It's got also lemon juice, Aperol, and Bittermen's Tiki Bitters.
Tiki Bitters.
Tiki Bitters.
What does it taste like to you?
Let me get another taste. Let me get some sound bites in for this. You know, the lemon juice is very forward.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like a whiskey sour, but I know it's got rum in it, so it's like a rum sour. This is basically a rum sour with some Aperol, so you've got the herbal liqueur element involved. It's actually a really tasty drink. This could be a new fave.
Yeah, I really like this drink. I feel like I'm on a cruise ship right now.
Relaxation mode engaged
as
soon as you get that first sip in.
I feel like sometimes I'm a little iffy with drinks that have Aperol in it because I feel like when you have an Aperol spritz, so aperitif or whatever it's actually called, it's not that tasty by itself.
No, you gotta mix it with some shit.
Yeah. And so like an Aperol spritz, if you have a little too much of it in there, you'll get that kind of...
It's like drinking a flower.
Yeah. And you're like, not that good. This, I can barely taste it, but I know it's contributing to the flavor of the drink.
I've been watching The White Lotus season 2 on HBO, which takes place in Italy, and they are drinking tons of those Aperol spritz.
Oh yeah,
and it looks refreshing. It does. It does look like it comes in like a wine glass. You know, they serve it. It's bubbly.
Yeah,
and
they are refreshing.
It does look like I could see myself sitting on a beach somewhere in South Italy drinking like 20 of those
for sure.
Not maybe 20 of them, but
I had a gin Aperol drink the other day. It was fucking gross.
Really?
Yeah, it was. It might have just been bad.
So gin and Aperol, no go for you.
Yeah, I'd say
do not recommend.
Good. No.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's stick to the Italian.
Exactly.
Gin is a British
really?
Spirit, I believe. Yes. There's
Oh.
I think you might want to verify me because I most days am full of shit.
So I feel like that's the impression I would have as well.
The only way I actually am now almost 100% sure that's the thing. There's that whole Beefeater brand, which that's where my mind goes to when I talk about Britain, and those are the guys with the uniforms. That's a whole brand. So tell us what you found.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's actually. Did you say in the UK or in England, or what did you say?
I said Britain.
Okay. So it says, according to Wikipedia, says that it was made by monks.
Ooh.
This is a monk drink, even though it doesn't have gin in it.
Monk.
And alchemists across Europe. That's funny. Alchemists were real. Okay.
It's not like a wizard, okay?
He's just a pharmacist.
Yeah. He's just a guy behind like mixing bitters and shit and herbs.
The modern gin was then modified in the Flanders and the Netherlands.
Okay.
So I guess that's... Oh, wait. Gin became popular in England after the introduction of Genever or Genever. I don't know what
the
that
fuck
is.
is that? Double click on that motherfucker.
A Dutch and Belgian liqueur that was originally a medicine.
I feel like most alcohol
Was
at
a
one
medicine.
point was just like they were just trying to convince themselves that this was medicine. Even during the Prohibition.
Yeah.
The legal sale of like whiskey and all those other drinks from some of the companies that still were permitted to make them were for medicinal use only.
Wait, what about the Sazerac?
Yes.
Didn't that come from a medical or a pharmacist or something?
Well,
like
actually,
that?
yes. So the Peychaud bitters was a concoction popularized by somewhat of a pharmacist in that region, and they mixed it with the Sazerac rye, which created the Sazerac cocktail.
Okay.
And of course, you cannot forget about the absinthe that also made its way
Yes.
into that cocktail.
I saw some absinthe at the liquor store the other day in Canada.
Canada?
Yeah. And I was like, ew.
Yeah, it's gross. I think I have like 2 or 3 bottles of absinthe back there for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I don't support absinthe. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you like licorice, it's probably a good flavor, right?
If you like licorice, I already don't like you.
Oh, that's...
See?
My wife likes licorice.
Well, black licorice or red licorice? Because there's a difference.
Yeah, there is. It's fine.
Like, I don't want to get into it. I want to talk about it.
Everyone likes red licorice, I feel like. You may not love it, but everyone likes it.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it... When I think of like... What's the popular brand? There's like Red Vines and then there's Twizzlers.
Yeah.
I don't consider a Twizzler licorice.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't even know what licorice is.
It's gross. That's what it is.
So is licorice an herb? Is it a flavor? Or is it just a term for that type of candy, that kind of like sugary...
Yeah, I wonder.
Almost gooey.
We should Google it. And if you guys have the answer, hit us up on Instagram threads.
Oh,
Thread us.
Instagram threads.
Thread us.
Licorice. It's an herb.
It is an herb.
Damn.
Stop trying to eat the herbs.
Yeah,
guys.
seriously.
Stop trying to put herbs in drinks and in candy. It doesn't work. It's just gross.
So it's known to decrease swelling, cough, and increase the chemicals in our body that heal ulcers.
All right. Okay. Well, the witch doctor's in, and he's giving you a full-on prescription of the licorice. Do you take it? Guess it couldn't hurt.
Yeah, I probably would. If he was like, you might get better, and there's nothing else that will make you better.
Who was like, ooh, yummy, licorice. Like, medicine is not supposed to taste good. But somehow some crazy guy in some corner of the world was like, we could put this in candy, and people are going to love it.
Right. That's like the
Stop.
people who figured out how to make mustard.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Ground up mustard seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then ate it.
They were like, fuck it. I I like mustard though.
Yeah, mustard's good. But did you know that most licorice in the U.S. doesn't actually have licorice in it?
Really?
I'm not even talking about
It's
black
just like
licorice.
an artificial flavor.
Yeah, it comes from, I think star anise is where it comes from, but it's anise oil.
Wow.
And that's why sometimes if you have a soup or some grains or something or a salad, you may taste a little bit of a licorice smell or flavor in there. And it's usually, I think it's star anise. Yeah.
Really?
But,
interesting.
Yeah, so we've been cheated. I mean, so that's black licorice, and then red licorice apparently isn't even anything ever. Like they just made it up.
They were just like, hey, here's a new thing.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
It doesn't have either of those things in it. Doesn't even smell like licorice.
What?
Yeah, but my favorite licorice is the wallaby one. Have you had that?
The wallaby one?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
I think it's Australian.
Pull it up. I like the Twizzlers, but when they're like multicolored, like the blue and the yellow and the orange ones.
I feel like those give you cancer.
Yeah. Obviously, everything that's good gives you cancer if you eat too much of
These
it.
bad boys, you never had these?
No, I haven't.
Willy Wallaby.
Willy Wallaby. Shout out to Willy Wallaby. Sponsor us.
This one right here is a huckleberry. They have a bunch of different flavors.
So it's just like stringed licorice.
Yeah, it's usually chunks of it like this. So in the photo here, they're vegan too. So
Oh, get on it.
no
you
high
vegans.
fructose corn syrup, fat free. What more can you ask for?
It to taste good. You know what? You know that artificial banana flavor?
That comes in smoothies?
Yeah, it's like smoothies, milkshakes, and things like that. Okay. All right. I had a banana that smelled like the artificial banana flavor. No.
Okay.
It was a perfectly healthy, ripe banana.
Where did it come from?
Whole Foods. Yeah.
So maybe that's what like organic bananas.
It's like what they're actually supposed to taste like. Here we are like, that's the artificial bullshit.
Yeah.
What the hell?
That's like when I had what's that grape?
Oh. Yeah, I know what you're talking
Muscat
about.
grape or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's the purple grape. It's a pretty big grape. And I was like, fuck, this is grape juice.
Yeah, this is grape juice.
Like when you had ever had grape soda, that's what those grapes taste like. I always thought grape soda was a fake taste.
Were they expensive? They probably were, right?
Not that expensive, no.
No. Where'd you get them? Like
At a farmer's market.
A farmer's market.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I haven't seen them. I mean, I haven't looked for them, but I haven't really seen them.
Huh.
But that was the first time I ever saw them, and we tried some, and yeah, they were good. It's like grape.
That's awesome. I got to try those
Yeah.
next time. You know what's in season right now? Palisade peaches and cherries.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was at the farmer's market
You
the other day.
You bought some, didn't you?
I didn't buy any because I was like trying to cut back on the sugars.
Yeah.
And
Also, I think you can buy them from King Supers for cheaper.
totally probably
They're
could.
the same peaches.
Totally could. What about the cherries though? Because those Palisade
Yeah,
cherries, they're
pretty good.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like they're kind of like the yellow and red color ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're
Those are
pretty
good.
good.
They're not like the dark red cherries that you'd usually get all season long.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where you can buy those. I think the only place I ever bought them was in Palisade.
Yeah. Well, now you know you can go to the Parker Farmers Market.
Actually, I may have bought them there too.
That shit was busy, dude.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Busy.
There's so many.
Farmers markets these days, they're not like some secret
They
anymore.
rip you off.
They're expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And they're crowded. Everybody wants to go fucking walk the farmers market.
Yeah.
It's like some like where are these things coming? Then you go, there's like Dish Network has a tent there, and you're like, what the fuck is
Really?
this? Yeah. Like there's like
What are they
some
doing?
corporate, like there's a lot. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of local small mom and pop businesses there.
Yeah.
But then you get like the one or two, like there's a roofing company.
Do they actually call it a farmer's market?
Yeah.
Oh, they should just change the name.
I mean, they
to
do have
market.
farm, like there's like cattle ranches
Yeah.
that sell you like, ground meat. And,
But
like,
it's
cuts of
not. It's
steak.
like when you go on farmersonly.com, you don't find people who aren't farmers. You know what I mean?
I bet you there's a couple of people on there
Yeah,
that are
but-
grifting.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
they're not allowed to be there.
Imagine if you're a gal, you're like excited, you went on farmersonly.com, you go on the first date and you find out he's not a farmer.
Yeah, exactly. By
do
the
you
way, use code at Lucky Duck to get 2 months free on
2 months free.
farmersonly.com.
How much does it cost to play around on farmersonly.com?
I don't know. That's a good question. But
Is it only? We should start a thing where it's only farmers.
onlyfarmers.com?
It's not a competitor to only farmers only, but it's only fans, but just farmers.
Yeah,
You know?
I get that.
Yeah, we're a small niche of people. What do we got here?
Jesus Christ, their website looks like 15 years too old.
Well, yeah, they're catering to the people who aren't as tech savvy. Although I will say, some of that farming equipment nowadays is like all automated. It's like basically just like one step away from being like totally autonomous, like robots farming.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
those things are crazy.
yeah.
That's like so the people who own farms nowadays, I think they're not like, they don't just have a little farm anymore.
No.
It's like mass operations, because I think the
a lot
regulations and equipment and stuff is too expensive.
Yeah, so they form like groups and like big joint ventures, and sometimes they also just sell and operate. They sell their farmland to a big corporation like Bill Gates, who's not a corporation but a person, but he owns the corporation that owns all. But and then they just operate and they get a paycheck.
Right. So it's kind of like Bill Gates's farm.
Mm-hmm.
He just has someone working on it.
You know what show talks about this issue? The Ranch on Netflix with Ashton Kutcher and that one guy that got caught being a rapist.
Oh yeah. Wait, in real life?
Yeah, Danny Matheson. I don't think I'm saying that right, but he was on that 70s show.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Wait, he was on the.
He was just like convicted.
He was on the other show too.
He's on The Ranch. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
like on the last season, he's not on because like he got in trouble.
Oh.
And they were like, huh, he like just left. He's gone. They never like talk about it again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
They bring on some side character to replace him.
I feel like when that happens, they should just kill him off, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they need to just address it head on. Maybe they break the fourth wall. Hey guys, he raped a couple people.
Yeah, exactly.
Make a joke or two. You know, about him at his expense. Not a rape. Okay, calm down.
Yeah,
calm down. Put your pitchforks down, people. Just at him, like his hair.
Yeah. So what were we talking about? So
farmersonly.com.
I was on farmersonly.com, and down here at the very bottom, I see all these things like American dating, traditional dating, rural dating, Christian dating. There's Latin dating, Asian dating, and Jewish dating. So I'm like, this is all interesting. Right? Do they own all of the JewishOnly.com, ChristianOnly.com? Ooh. So I click on it. Let's see. Christian dating, finding Christian singles in the United States. You tried dating the people that you're friends with from your church, who you hooked up with. You've been praying for someone to come along and knock you off your feet. It just never worked.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
They want you to
this
knock
is so cheesy.
else. They want to knock boots.
So
knocking boots.
I think that maybe Farmers Only has become dating for anyone.
Oh.
And that once you get on the website,
maybe it's just for conservative folks of all occupancies.
So it says, after you register for farmersonly.com, you'll be free to browse their database of singles before you select the dating package that works.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's dating packages.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder if that looks like. It's like, okay, entry level bronze level is you get to go on 2 hay rides guaranteed.
Yeah. They're like, we're not ones to brag, but we think Farmers Only is the best Christian dating site. Why?
Oh,
it's simple.
But there's christiansonly.com.
I know.
Right? Or something
I don't
like
know.
that. I don't
Maybe.
know.
That sounds like it could be bad, but
Christians only. All right, we're getting a little too down the weeds on that, guys. Calm down.
Hitler's like coming out of his grave right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This is weird. I think we were talking about something else before.
We're talking about drinks. We're talking about something. You know what I thought the other day, though? Sustainability. Big part of like business
Yes.
and just ways of life. We gotta make sure we cut down on resource use.
Yeah, like not using too much ice and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
water, right?
Mhm.
Gotta conserve water.
Mhm.
Make sure you turn off. You never let the water run. Barney taught us that way early on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was at the airport. I was using the restroom. I was washing my hands afterwards. Okay. I go in and I use the Dyson blades. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like basically you stick your hands into the machine and it blows on both sides of your palms.
Yeah.
And it kind of basically just like runs the water down your hands and it just kind of exit down into the machine.
And then
okay?
blows like the bacteria and stuff all back onto your hands.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Well, that's part of the experience.
Right.
But what I'm thinking more specifically about is what if we use all the water that runs off your hands and seeps down into the bottom of that machine,
Right.
and we make cocktails out of that?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like you could wash the planes with it.
Oh yeah, we could wash the planes.
Yeah,
But also like, could we make a cool cocktail like the Dyson Teeny, or like the hand wash fashioned, or something like that? Like, could we somehow get creative? Like, like there's probably some hipster that wants to try that out
I
there.
feel like this is something you should bring up to someone at your company.
my therapist.
Yeah. Well, why do you say that?
I feel like
I didn't say it. You said
most
it.
people I've pitched this to have often been like, "Are you okay?
Yeah. Well, so
Is everything okay?"
I
at
guess
home?"
the first thing is, do you know why you wash your hands?
Why do I wash my hands?
Yeah.
To remove the germs.
Right.
But I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
When you go over to the Dyson dryer, the germs are gone.
They're gone because of the soap.
Yeah, cool. Well, here's how I usually wash my hands.
Yeah.
Is I rinse them, I lather them up, I rinse them again, and at that point, the soap is gone, and what's just left on my hands is clean water.
Yeah, but imagine this scenario, right? First off, not everyone uses the soap. I know. I don't know why.
That's
but,
weird.
yeah. But imagine this scenario. So guy goes or woman goes into the stall, right? Like massive shit.
Massive.
Okay. Wiping and they don't notice, but as they're wiping, they get some shit like on the back of their hand. They don't notice it though, right? They finish, they flush, they come out, they go to wash their hands. By that time, it's kind of like dried a little bit, but
Too much. That's not enough time. Not enough time.
okay, but even
We've
if
all been there.
even
It
if
does not
even if
dry
it
out
hasn't
that
dried,
fast.
so they're washing their hands, right? Still haven't noticed that there's shit like on the back of their hand, and they're like, okay, finish washing my hands. They go over to the dryer. Next thing you know, dryer's blowing all that shit off of their hands down into your Dyson Teeny.
Yeah, but what's happening? What you don't see behind the scenes is there's like a little strainer that strains all the solids out of the water that drains through the bottom of the machine. Then you're not catching any particles. You're just getting the water.
It's not the particles. It's the bacteria.
You're just getting the water, though. Okay.
It's like a
Yeah, but that's
a
what
na-
makes the Dyson Teeny so flavorful. It's literally just vodka in the water.
Oh wait, the vodka can clean it, right?
The vodka.
I don't know if it's high
can
enough alcohol
clean it.
content.
All right, we're
I
gonna
think
have
you need
to
the
change the
heads.
recipe. What if we did Dyson water and Everclear? High enough proof to kill any bacteria.
Don't think so.
No.
No,
What do we need? Like a 70 and above?
I think you have to use the alcohol that comes out first. You know, when
All
you
right.
distill it.
White Lightning, Moonshine,
Yeah,
and Dyson water called the
Yeah.
Dyson Teeny.
that could work.
If the Dyson water don't kill you, the White Lightning might.
I feel like though, the thing is, a lot of people get sick going through the airport, you know, and so they're probably just gonna start blaming it on the Dyson Teeny. Probably get some lawsuits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like it might not be a good idea.
This is a perfect moment to cut to our commercial break. Do you like Bud Light? Because Bud Light is sponsoring us, and they're bringing us a whole new experience for the podcast. All right? It's whoever can drink the most Bud Lights wins an all-expense paid vacation for 2 months to Hawaii.
Whoa, to Hawaii.
Hawaii.
How do I enter the challenge?
You have to buy all the Bud Light at the grocery store, all of it. And when you qualify, when you buy your 50th case, can't be 48, can't be 49, 50 cases of 30-pack Bud Light. they will give you a chance to win. Everybody's drawn in to a lottery system and picked at random a winner to go to Hawaii 2 months. But you have to buy all the Bud Light.
I did the calculation. It's only 1,500 beers. And you
1,500
have to
beers.
drink them.
Yep.
It's not just buying them.
You have to drink them too. You have to buy them and then subsequently drink them and prove that you have drank all of them.
Yeah, you have to film yourself drinking them, send in the video. Chase and I will sort through them. We'll pick the winner. And 2 months vacation.
Paid vacation.
Yeah, but not airfare though.
No. Well, yeah, airfare. We should disclose airfare is not included. Also, food and beverage not included.
Yeah. So basically, like we found this guy who will let you stay at his house for a while. It might be more like a month and a half.
His name is Bubba.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I said 2 months. We rounded it up. It's
flight time. Like
38 days.
Yeah.
38 days.
So, 38 days, and it has to be like during June.
Well, also, like when I said grocery store, I meant you had to buy all the Bud Light I have in the back stock, which is a lot of Bud Light.
Yeah.
I bought tons of Bud Light at the
Yeah.
beginning of the year thinking this was going to be Bud Light's year, and stuff happened.
Yep.
And now I can't sell it.
Right.
I'm at pennies on the dollar, okay? But I will pay for you to go stay at Bubba's house in Hawaii. It's not Hawaii, it's Guam. But it's an island in the Pacific.
You need a passport, by the way.
Wait, do you need a passport to go to Guam?
That's a good question. I know American Samoa, the island that we own, that one you do. So I assume that Guam you probably did too. I don't know if you can just go to Guam. Can you just go to Guam?
I think you can.
It doesn't have to be for a military reason.
I don't know a lot of people who are like, dude, Guam, just came back from Guam, dude. You have to go. Guam is lit, dude.
Yeah.
I do know somebody who lives in Guam. Believe it or not.
It looks like all you need is a real ID.
There you go. Don't need a passport. See,
Yeah.
This whole Bud Light thing just got a lot easier for y'all. Okay? The first person to buy all my Bud Light gets to go to Guam, all expenses paid besides food and beverage and the plane ticket.
Yeah, but how much are you selling the Bud Light for? Because, I mean, I can go to the store and get
Full
30 pack
price.
for $5.
Full price.
Okay.
I need to recoup my investment.
So-
I'm getting a divorce if I can't.
This is like a $5,000 worth of Bud Light.
It is.
Yeah, I think now is the cheapest time in history that you'll ever be able to drink Bud Light, guys.
Yeah.
Go out, support Big Monopoly.
Support Big Beer.
Monopoly.
Support Big Beer today.
Yeah,
Bud Light.
they've been America's sweetheart beer for as long as we can remember.
You want to know what the new number one selling beer is?
Is it Miller?
No. I bet you cannot guess.
Okay. Is it a pot? Is it like a mass-produced beer?
Yes.
Okay. Michelob.
No.
Uh,
You're close though, but not in the way you
shit.
think.
Oh.
I'll just tell you. It's Modelo.
Yeah, I feel like it's not true.
How?
I mean, I just don't know that many people who drink Modelo.
Everybody drinks Modelo. Dude.
No, they don't. Everybody drinks Coors
It's
Light.
Modelo time.
It's definitely not.
It's
It,
Modelo
it may have been.
time.
It may be the beer that's increased the most because it went from like 5 people drinking it to like 100,000 people drinking it.
Listen, you said yourself the number of people drinking beer did not change.
Yeah.
It's the people choosing different beers now.
Yeah, right. But so why would they choose Modelo though?
Because it's delicious. What do you have against Modelo?
Why
Miles?
wouldn't you just choose Coors Light?
Because some people don't like the way the Rockies taste. Okay? Get that Rocky beer. It's delicious. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I know. I've got it on tap.
I think people just need to give in and forget and forgive and drink Dos Equis.
Dos Equis. I think
That's like the worst beer I've ever had.
Dos Equis.
Yeah.
I don't
don't
the
know.
last time I had a Dos Equis.
I don't know if it's that bad or not. I just remember I tried it once at a bar. These ladies were walking around giving out free samples of it.
Like a little bit of it?
Yeah, it was like a small cup of it.
So it was probably like...
And I tried it, and it was so bad that I've never had it since then. If somebody offered me Dos Equis, I would not have it. That's how bad it is. So they were out giving free beer to try to get me to try it and drink it, and it did the complete opposite.
You were like, no.
Yeah.
Maybe it was warm. Maybe they gave you that shit.
It could have been.
It was just like they were walking around, nobody was taking it.
Maybe it was because I was like 14 and I didn't like beer. Could be it.
It could be it. They definitely... Now I have some questions about who was serving you this beer.
My
We don't want to call anybody out on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
lots happened since we last got together. The world's been collapsing slowly. Bud Light's on a decline. There's a submarine that went missing for like a hot minute, and everybody uncharacteristically...
Everyone
involved.
except the Navy knew.
Everybody
Didn't know.
had an opinion about that damn sub. It was getting exhausting. I don't
Yeah,
even
I know.
want to fucking talk about it.
Yeah, the only thing I thought was crazy, I saw this article headline. This is the only reason I thought about this. I'm not that intellectual, but there was like a week before that, there was that ship going to Greece from I don't know if it was Africa or something that sank and like 200 people died or something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I
but
heard
like
about that.
not that many people heard about it.
Yeah, not a lot of people were even like gave their own take on it.
Yeah.
You know, anybody with an Instagram handle had some sort of take. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
But then
the submarine.
it was like 4 or 5 people in a submarine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
It was like
So like 200 people died off the coast of Malaysia. What? That's crazy.
yeah.
But also, have you heard about the submarine controlled by a Logitech controller on Amazon?
Yeah, it's crazy. That was like, I was looking at the other day. For some reason, I watch YouTube Shorts quite a bit now because I stopped watching TikTok.
Oh, okay.
And I've always been someone who kind of just goes on YouTube and watches videos. So I'll open it, watch it occasionally. And a video popped up of Everest, of people summiting Everest. And it was a video about a body there. Because you know the whole thing about how when people die, they don't bring
They
them
just
down.
leave them, yeah.
Yeah, because it's dangerous. And I watched it because I thought it was kind of interesting. I'd never seen that before. And then since then, like every 10 videos is a video about Everest.
Oh,
People
no.
climbing Everest. I
Yeah.
know. I'm like, fuck. It was one video, guys.
God
Come on.
damn it. It happens no matter what platform you're on.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like
It's
these
super
days.
annoying.
Yeah.
So, because it makes my world feel small. I'm like, if every 10 videos is that, and there's like billions of videos out there, it means I'm seeing such a small genre of videos.
It's weird. Reddit's been doing this thing where it's just recommending me subreddits just at random. Like I'll get like the Durango subreddit. I'm like, why are you sending me Durango?
Because you like something in Colorado. They were like, you like Durango now.
Yeah, do you like this? You want to see more of this?
Yeah,
Come on,
exactly.
man. They're trying to figure me out.
They will never, because
I'm too complicated for them.
it's a brain thing.
Yeah. Well, since we last spoke, AI is on the rise.
No, it's not. I feel like it went on the rise and then it kind of just stopped there. It fizzled out.
Not everybody's and their mother is talking about it now,
Right.
Because it was like a trendy thing, just like that damn submarine. It
Yeah.
was hot, and now it's not.
And I'm thinking back to all these things that I heard and saw about ChatGPT, for instance, and I'm like, I don't believe it. I don't believe what those people said.
I don't believe a second of it.
Like I remember, I think it was Jordan Peterson who said that there was this case where this guy at Twitter or whatever needed to get his work done, and because Elon took over, right? And so he hadn't worked for the whole week or whatever, and so he asked ChatGPT to do his work. He was like, I'm a Twitter engineer and this is what I do, so write me like a week's worth of work. And he was like, oh yeah, so I wrote all this code and stuff and it all worked. And I was like, I've asked it to do like pretty simple stuff and doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I have zero faith that that story is true.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the stories that came out are kind of exaggerations.
They definitely are. I think, well, here's the issue with today's like trendy media consumption is everybody who has a platform and an audience will exaggerate trendy material to basically capture the moment, like seize the opportunity of something that's happening that's popular in the moment. And it often just creates a bubble and then it fizzes out quickly. I tend to not believe the guy when he says that. This sounds way too nuanced. But also, one interesting thing I heard about Twitter is in order to get promoted in the organization pre-Musk era was you had to build some sort of framework, and it could just be a shitty framework. It didn't have to be anything. As long as a few people used it, you would rank up in the organization. So I guess you could just be like, hey, ChatGPT, like here's a few parameters, build me a framework, and then you'd be like, here's my framework, and they'd be like, and nobody was actually being like, hey, this is a good framework. This is actually very useful. They were just like, oh, you built a framework.
Yeah.
So maybe there's like something to do with that. That's why a lot of Twitter was like bloated with like bad code, which is like people would just like not efficiently write code
Right.
for to scale or there's this guy was on Lex Friedman's podcast talking about this. He's like the CEO of this company that called Tiny Corp, basically just trying to engineer. Right now, they're trying to engineer AI to run on like anything, like a large language model to like run on any platform. Because right now you need like massive GPUs and data centers to run like ChatGPT and other like other forms of large language models. And so he was basically saying that Twitter should and can be run by like 50 people, but it's not. It's like run by like thousands of people. But it's terribly managed in the development of a side of things that it's just become this hot mess.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that like 50 people, but I could. Like for the operations team, maybe I could potentially see that. It probably depends on the skill set because I think what do they have, like 250 million users? Mm-hmm. So they have to have a lot of infrastructure. You got to have people who are always designing new infrastructure or architecture for the infrastructure, all that kind of stuff. And then you have development team, which I actually kind of wondered about that because Twitter is not, I don't think it is like most of the other big tech companies like Facebook. Facebook has like many, many, many apps and features.
Yeah.
Even just in Facebook, like all the games that they used to have. I think they still have
so many.
Just Marketplace.
Facebook Watch.
Yeah. Like all these different things, right?
Groups.
I would compare Twitter to like Instagram, like the team that runs Instagram.
Yeah.
It's very simple. It's just like Twitter. That's it. Like there's an API that people can consume and they can build apps around it. And then there's Twitter where people write things and it goes out into the metaverse.
But I think there's something that happens when your organization scales from like a startup to a big corporation.
Yeah.
That making small adjustments, starting new small projects becomes time consuming, labor consuming, and very expensive. And that's why like startups will always exist. Like there's something about the organization and structure and agency and mobility that's granted to basically the entire organization of like, say there's like 15 people working on something, 15 to like 50 people. You can deliver and launch and ship a product very quickly. compared to like if somebody like Microsoft was to do the exact same thing, it would take them twice as long, twice as expensive, because they have tons of red tape. There's meetings for meetings, things like that. So you often will see corporations like Microsoft stop internally developing new ideas and just buying startups because they have capital and they can basically consume and leverage those small groups to ship a product quickly.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like my company, for instance, there were a few years where they went from very few amount of people, like startup basically, and scaled up to hundreds of people, and then basically kind of hit a wall right there because they got to the point where it was like, now things are becoming really expensive because like for instance, they didn't have an HR really before. Like that's one whole department now that you have to pay for, and other costs of just like process. Like when you have one customer and you can develop everything for one customer, that's great. But then when you have 10 customers, you know, it's like you can't do everything custom for one customer. You have to have processes in place. Those processes always take longer and are more expensive than just cowboying something. You have more important customers who expect better, like more uptime, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that Elon basically, like if you really think about it, that's how much people like views are worth. Is he paid like what 40 billion or whatever it was for 250 million accounts, and that's essentially all he paid for.
Yeah.
Like he kind of paid for some skilled engineers. No doubt there's plenty of skilled people at the company. And then the software itself, which he even said was shit, right? Like everyone supposedly it's not that good. I'm sure there's an exaggeration there. And then 250 million accounts, right?
Yeah. I mean, and then arguably the number one spot to have like intellectual discourse, basically.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean,
sure.
There's one thing to say, oh, I bought 250 million accounts on Facebook. And you're just like, all right, well, what is that really worth? But 250 accounts of like, I don't know. I feel like the most discourse and just not controversy, but you know, communication happens on Twitter.
Yeah, that could be true. But also, like, how many of the 250 million accounts is that true for?
Exactly. Well, I think they were saying like less than 1%, or maybe it was less than 4% of the entire Twitter user base accounts for
like most of the traffic.
Traffic, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like mostly celebrities, politicians, companies, all tweeting things. It's like when you Google something, like you want to know about something that's going on, one of the top results on the first page of Google is always, not always, but oftentimes going to be Twitter results. People, and it's usually more reputable people tweeting something, like a journalist or something like that. So yeah, for sure, that's true. I think like Reddit is also a pretty good place for that too. Like whenever I want to know about something, can be pretty simple, from like fixing something in the house to something about a place I'm traveling. I oftentimes will just type a question in and then Reddit with it, and I'll find a bunch of results, and it's just real people answering things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, but is Reddit worth like?
Well,
many
Reddit's
billions?
like on a downward spiral right now.
Yeah, because they did the same thing as Twitter.
Yeah.
They rate limited.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I can see for Twitter that being a thing, but there's a massive difference with Reddit and everything else in that it's entirely moderated and supported by people basically volunteering their time up.
It's like kind of decentralized.
And it's decentralized. So when you start to like, when the corporate greed starts to seep into that, that becomes concerning, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting that they both did that around the same time, because I kind of wonder if, because one thing I heard is that, I think it was actually Threads, Instagram's new app, that there's one of the engineers posted something there that was like that they're trying to protect against AI harvesting bots or whatever.
So they need more like money to support.
Well, what I wonder is, now that we have a ton of these AI programs that are coming out that the companies and people are trying to harvest data to teach them, I wonder if suddenly in the last year or so, if we've had a lot more data scraping on the internet. And that's why they're noticing. I mean, I know obviously Twitter has money problems.
Yeah.
All tech companies supposedly have money problems right now, right?
Yeah.
It's like credit's expensive. They had record profits. I don't know where the record profits went during the pandemic, but somehow they're having to lay off people and all that stuff. So it could be it could be that, but also I kind of wonder if AI is contributing to this, because it is pretty shitty. It's like with both Twitter and Reddit, and Reddit I think is the big one, because you have a lot of, I mean, Twitter tweets are embedded all across all kinds of different apps, but you click on, you want to look at the comments and stuff, it'll take you to Twitter,
Right.
and then you'll start seeing something that will
You
generate
can't even
revenue.
look at, I don't think you can look at comments without an account. You'd actually have an account to see like all the all the metadata.
Yeah. So with Reddit, there's a bunch of those apps, those third-party apps that aren't owned by Reddit. Does Reddit even have an app, a mobile app?
Yeah.
They have their own? Okay. But there's a bunch of third-party really popular ones that in order for them to exist, they have to pull all the subreddits.
They basically have to mirror Reddit. Yeah.
And so they probably don't make that much money. Like they probably make a decent amount of money off ads, but probably not that much. And now they're having to pay more money than they make in ads.
Yeah.
So they'll just become obsolete.
Yeah.
They just won't exist.
I think so. I think if Reddit was stable and floating along fine financially, they definitely should not have done that.
Yeah, what happened?
I mean, they basically ruined the one good thing about the internet that was left.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I don't blame people who are like, I'm not using Reddit anymore, or they shut down subreddits, you know, and then, you know, this whole CEO has just been made out to be a big villain of this whole thing. And he's basically like shitting on the people who are like making subreddits private and like rebelling against, you know, the decisions. And I'm just like, you are attacking the people who basically make up your organization. Like, instead of the employees, the people that are moderating, it's just people.
Right.
Like, people make up Reddit. It's not anything else.
Yeah. So Reddit's costs are like the development team, not just developers, but all the project people and all that stuff. And so very small amount of staff, I could imagine, their whole operations and all their infrastructure. And which their infrastructure is probably like, maybe they're big enough to have their own servers, but they could also have a deal with some hoster that actually they run that. So they might even own the servers. They just pay for the space and all that. So yeah, exactly. Like they were running fine before. So why all of a sudden, like what happened?
Yeah. Yeah. What happened? What happened, Reddit?
Did they say why?
Maybe they did. I don't know. I'm not privy to that.
It's the AI. They're ruining everything.
The AI.
Speaking
of AI, how about all this like AI checking AI?
Yeah, AI checking
tools.
AI.
Yeah. Like the tools teachers are trying to use to basically catch fake papers or papers written by AI.
Well, I also saw, for instance, Steam, which is an application that sells video games, basically, is being really cautious about allowing video games that are using AI because of copyright issues. So I guess Steam feels they could be liable if they're selling a game that is using an AI that is generating things based on people's work that wasn't paid for.
Yeah, I mean, that's a legitimate concern. I think we are in the baby stages of like this. We're like in the calm before the storm of lawsuits waiting to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as great as ChatGPT is, I think they're probably, I'm going to make a prediction. I think Microsoft's AI tool, it's whatever is like integrated into Bing. I think that's going to become the most popular one, and I think OpenAI is going to have to face like a tremendous amount of lawsuits that are basically going to just like sink the company.
Isn't that ChatGPT though?
No, Bing?
Yeah.
No. I don't think so. No, I think they have their own tool.
Yeah, I thought it was because they own like 10% of OpenAI or something.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah, but I don't think they're using GPT.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Oh.
But yeah, I think a lot of these all of these like little small companies too better be careful about how they're leveraging the API into GPT, because I think it's like the lawyers are getting very excited.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah, so Steam should be very careful, but that's one thing that's interesting. I was thinking about, I can't remember who was talking more about this, but it was like exploring the idea of making like a Red Dead Redemption or a Grand Theft Auto, but the NPCs were like large language models that you're interacting with, and how interesting and more like in depth of a world you could explore. Right. You know, like we all have that experience. Who, you know, for those of us who played Skyrim, you know, there was those like redundant lines that the guards would say, like, I took an arrow to the knee, and it was like they would just say it over and over again. But imagine a world where you're like in Skyrim or some Grand Theft Auto world, but you can have just like an infinite conversation with like an NPC.
Yeah, I think I've seen some even popular video games that are coming out with updates where they say they're using AI. Whatever that actually means. Yeah,
it's like, is it like a neural network, large language model? Because like the word AI is like, it's like thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
The guys, the guards and NPCs in Skyrim, you could say that's AI.
Yeah.
Right. It's like just code.
Right.
Generating responses based on cues and triggers. Right.
Right. Yeah, that's like when I was watching the Apple developer conference and the guy was talking and he said machine learning.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny because like no one says machine learning in it. That's like neural network and machine learning and whatnot were terms you were using to describe concepts that are used for AI, I think. And now people just call everything AI.
Right.
You know? It's like, yeah, it's powered by AI.
Powered by AI. So like what? Just code?
Yeah.
The fuck is that different from like last year, dude?
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That'd be interesting. That'd be fun to play though, right? I mean,
yeah, for sure.
It reminds me of that one video game that came out.
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, yeah, where they would just generate worlds based on a set parameters and variables.
Right.
I think that was like the first game to do something that was popular at the time.
Sure.
And that kind of blew it. I mean, it was like stupidly generic. You know, you'd just be like, oh, this is a slightly different color than the last planet I was on. But it would just generate new worlds, and you could just infinitely go to new worlds.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a cool concept.
Somewhat boring right now.
Yeah,
after a while.
I think that's the problem is especially because the game didn't have that many features when it came out. I think they've added a lot since then. Yeah. They were a little bit premature. I mean, anyone who's on the forefront like that, it's like you're spending a lot of time figuring things out.
You know how you fix that?
Yeah.
Just add that little beta next to
Oh, yeah.
Then nobody can blame you for the bugs.
You're like, it's not coming out until 2035, but we'll let you have early access to it.
Early access right now.
We'll give it to you for only 70%. It's
like the Phasmophobia, I think, still in beta. It's just like one of those, or like what was the Battle Royale? When Battle Royale became a big thing, it was H1Z1.
Yeah.
And that was like forever in beta.
Yeah, it was
like,
always
we're in beta.
Yeah, or Call of Duty's DMZ.
Yes.
They've had 3 or 4 seasons now. I think they're on the 4th, right?
Yeah.
Which like a season in Call of Duty is essentially just several months long.
Yeah, I think it's like 8 weeks or something like that. Yeah.
Where you can rank up and earn things. And they've had, I think they're on their 4th now. And DMZ, which came out at the beginning, the first season at the very beginning of the game, is still in beta mode.
Yeah.
And they just keep changing it every time.
Yeah. Which, like, you know, it's a good scapegoat. I respect the hustle.
Yeah, the thing is, it just feels like regular Warzone. Like, regular Warzone has so many bugs and issues and whatever. And, like, they could have just called that beta.
I think somebody was telling me that you can now, we're going on a little tangent here with Call of Duty, but you can now rejoin Warzone.
Yeah.
If you get booted. We used to have issues with that. We'd have somebody would just get randomly like booted, or just their game would crash.
Yeah.
And then you just stuck out. Now you can just join back in. I think that's a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing. It happened to me.
And you were able to join back in?
Yeah,
That's nice.
I think you guys had ended the game right when I was getting back though.
Okay.
But yeah, that's definitely a thing. Like when you're playing a ranked game, in ranked games, if you leave the game, you get penalized for it. And so if your game just crashed and it wasn't your fault, or your internet went out or something for a second, and you come back, then they penalize you. So you may not be able to get on for like an hour or a whole day or something, depending how many times your game has crashed.
Yeah. You know what other platform was having issues with AI generated content, like Steam?
Yes, Spotify.
Yeah, they like removed like hundreds of thousands of songs that they had suspected was generated by AI. I assume for liability issues, right?
Yeah. I kind of wonder. Also, it kind of like floods their library with who knows what.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't even know if it's good quality.
It could be like just garbly gunk.
Yeah, and Spotify is probably like, it could fuck up their algorithm.
Yeah.
But what's kind of interesting to me there is, didn't they notice that like a lot more songs were being uploaded?
They were like, there's a lot more people.
It took them a while,
songs.
Right, to notice.
Interesting.
Yeah. They're like, wow, Spotify is getting really popular.
Yeah. There's got to be a way to like not punish people, but to like help if like you are a user, you sign up, you pay whatever the fee is to start adding songs to Spotify's catalog. You upload AI content, they find out. The best they can do is ban your account. Then you just create another one, re-upload them.
Yeah, I
wonder if there's like a deposit you would have to put down. You know, like I think Twitter tried to do that, right? Like if you wanted to sign up for Twitter, they're thinking about charging you like $7, so it would like basically mitigate like people just creating thousands of bot accounts.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. I know they did that for their Blue service or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I think that was one of the proposed ideas
What?
to mitigate the bot inflation problem.
That's like, that goes back to the blockchain.
Yeah.
So like this guy back in like, I don't know, the 80s or something, came up with this idea. I think it was related to email actually, where spam with email has been a problem since basically the start of email, and email has been around since around the start of the internet existing. And so they've had this problem where they've had to deal with it, and you get all these spam, you get a lot of software that runs to mitigate that, but you still end up getting a lot of spam in your mailbox, right? And the solution he came up with was, every time you send an email, you pay like a penny to send the email, and you probably wouldn't really care because you might send like 20 emails a day or something,
Right.
and then you pay 20 cents a day. It's
Right.
not really that much money. But if you're sending like 1 million emails a day, I don't know if that comes out to in dollars, but that's quite a bit of money for
Yeah.
what you might not get the return. And it's the same thing with
Exactly.
that's the concept that they used, that Bitcoin used.
Right.
And that's where that comes from. I don't know if that was the first idea
The
of
gas
using
required to do a transaction,
right.
perform a transaction. Yeah.
So I don't know if that was the first idea that or first concept where that came from, but that was one of the early ones. And so yeah, that's like with phone calls and texts and things like that. That's something that they could potentially use. It's just as soon as you do that, you automatically are going to cut out some people. It doesn't matter how cheap it is. People they don't want to put a credit card in.
Right. No, exactly. And it also just creates a social divide from the people who
really don't have money.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, $5 a month or whatever.
But and I was thinking Spotify could do where you put like a $200 deposit down.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to basically upload music indefinitely, and then when you're done, you can close your account. You get your $200 back.
But if
they find out, they keep your money and you lose $200.
So then they like upload they start uploading under your account. They're like, oh, you broke the rule.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, there's some issues, potential issues, ethical issues that come into play, and some people who, there is going to be a time in the future where you create something organically or authentically and it triggers there's going to be like an AI that Spotify uses to check all their database of songs and check it against existing library. And there's going to be some songs where they're like, yeah, this may come close, so it triggers it. And then suddenly you're like, wait a second. And you authentically did not, use a bot to write that song.
Yeah.
Or maybe your hook is close enough to an existing song, and then suddenly you're at $200 and banned from using Spotify.
Yeah, and you should have.
There's going to be edge cases
been
for sure.
Smarter,
but there's probably an appeals process,
right,
that you could go through, right, to basically have somebody review. But then that's costing Spotify more money because they need to have somebody actually come in and check, like probably a real human, right?
Right.
And to do that at scale would be very costly on Spotify's end for something that's not really saving them a whole lot of money in the end, Yeah.
I noticed this problem a little bit on YouTube. I've been seeing some AI generated videos of like Joe Rogan, for instance, or Obama or whatever.
Right, yeah.
I think we've seen these on TikTok for a while.
Yeah.
But they haven't been very good.
No.
They're pretty bad.
Yeah.
And this one wasn't that good either, but it makes me wonder if YouTube could potentially be held liable for using for generating money off of the likeness of somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a celebrity like Joe Rogan or something, yeah. If somebody wanted to sue.
Right.
Yeah.
So like right now, Joe Rogan doesn't care that people clip his videos and post them on TikTok and in YouTube because it makes him more popular.
Right.
It brings attention to his show. He makes money off of his show.
Right.
Yeah. It's like artists who have their music played on the radio.
Right.
But if they're now using, like putting words in his mouth, I'm sure he's going to start caring, right?
Yeah, well, I think it depends. Yeah, right. If it's something where it gets good enough, when AI does get good enough to fool people, because right now maybe it fools a couple dummies, but it's not fooling the majority. But when it becomes a point where that tips the scale in the other direction, where it's like fooling most people and some aren't, that's when it's going to become a problem. When they start putting hateful words in his mouth or stuff that he doesn't want to be out there. And then suddenly now it's a problem.
Yeah. It's also, the content's pretty low quality. Like it kind of just reminds me of shit posting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it definitely is. And also just generally, I don't know, there's like a whole history of remixing and sampling and using pre-existing content. And when you use AI, you're basically just bouncing off of somebody else's existing media or content. And so now, and then suddenly now that's out there, it's published, and then you have basically the same large language model going to that and looking at it and being like, oh, this is what humans created. And now it's starting to we're going to just start feeding the machine AI content, and the AI is going to not be able to recognize that this was generated by an AI and not by an authentic human.
Yeah.
And so then all the large language models are going to be being fed bad, like basically junk food, and spitting out junk food. It's like bad in, bad out.
Right.
Which
is, I think maybe we'll have some other form of AI before it really becomes like really gets more ingrained in our life. The language model one, large language model one might be good for pretty simple tasks. Mm-hmm. Like I could use it to write a simple script or something, or translate something easily for myself. They could use it for jobs that just are doing repetitive tasks and things like that, or need to learn how to do the repetitive task without having someone to write the software to do it, things like that. But yeah, I would guess that they won't become smart enough to do more complex tasks, and maybe there'll be a new technology that will push it further.
Yeah, right. I mean, inevitably, right? That's what everybody's assumption is. Mm-hmm. Are you excited to have your own Jarvis?
I kind of do.
I say Jarvis because it's a popular pop culture fictional AI, but let's be honest, it's just going to be what Siri or Alexa, right? Those are already existing and at everybody's.
They're pretty stupid though.
They're pretty stupid, but
they're pretty bad.
But they will get very good.
Yeah, they'll get good
if they could utilize the ChatGPT technology and Transformer stack. They will get like that. That'll be the next big thing. ChatGPT's like you have to log in. Then you got to go into a browser, log in. I think there's an app now, right?
Yeah. There's a bunch of apps.
But it's not like I can just push this button and suddenly I'm talking to Siri. I can just say, hey, Google, and then in the corner of the bar, Google is going to respond to me. Like you can't do that with ChatGPT. It's not accessible, but Amazon and Apple, what they've done a really good job. They haven't done a good job of making Siri sophisticated and intelligent and complex, and there's a massive alignment problem. But with that technology exists somewhere else, they could just easily copy what ChatGPT is doing.
Yeah. And
now suddenly they call it the interface problem becomes with that ChatGPT has, it becomes a non-issue.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like Apple's thing where they don't like using technology until it's more well refined. I could see that being a thing because when you ask Siri something, you can mostly trust what she tells you, but I wouldn't trust like anything that really ChatGPT tells me.
And also the issue that Siri has is it's not localized. Like, have you ever asked Siri to do something and it's like, hold on?
Oh yeah, it sends it to their cloud.
It has to go out. Right. But the processors and GPUs in your phones are getting so complex, and they'll get to a point where everything can be localized and decentralized onto a phone. So I don't need internet connection to talk to Siri anymore suddenly.
Yeah, they could be nice.
Yeah.
I wonder I don't know how any of it really works. So I wonder if that's really possible, cuz I guess it has to still store something, like it needs a memory basically. Yeah. It may not need to, like, it could read a book and it may not need to remember the book.
Right.
Then it uses all that statistical stuff to predict and all that whatnot. Mm-hmm. But it still has to remember some things.
But here's the thing that pisses me off. If I ask Siri right now to call somebody for me, it has to go to the cloud and then return their request to me. Like if I have poor signal, even like, hey Siri, open up Google Maps.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone
See, there's another problem. But the other problem is it has to go out and then return that request. It can't localize internal phone like requests without having a signal. Like it's literally useless if you have no signal to the internet.
Yeah, but
like it can't do anything. It'll just sit there going, hold on.
Yeah, I think they could get around that pretty easily because I would imagine the need to send it out to Apple is when it has to for like more complex requests.
Mm-hmm.
But doing something like saying call this person, make this note,
mm-hmm.
anything that's not requiring the internet to connect to, then I could imagine they could fix that. I don't know why they haven't.
Yeah,
it's kind of stupid.
It's stupid.
But yeah, Alexa is always getting what I say wrong.
Oh, it's bad. It's so bad.
She's constantly will just start talking to me.
Yeah.
I'll have a conversation with Sarah in bed, and then suddenly she'll just start talking.
Like, haha, so funny, Miles.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
No, she'll start telling me about like the population of like Kenya or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wasn't even talking about Africa.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If they can fix that, ChatGPT's done. And that's the thing is like this whole AI race is going to basically there's going to be like millions of AI, large language models. And there might be just like maybe one really popular one.
The one that runs on the blockchain probably.
Yeah, the one that runs on the blockchain. The decentralized one.
No one talks about anymore.
Yeah. The blockchain.
You know, Meta broke a record, I think, yesterday. Yesterday. With their new app.
Thread?
Yeah. I think it was...
Did you download it?
Yeah, I did.
Why?
Because we set up an account through our Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then I downloaded it myself so I could just learn how it works.
So... Do you guys use Twitter?
No.
So what's interesting to you about Threads?
What's interesting is you can post. So you're kind of interacting with the same group of people, I would say. But
because your accounts are linked.
Yeah, your account's linked. So I think in order to create a Threads account, you have to have an Instagram account. I don't think you can just go on to Threads app. So it's Threads by Instagram. It's not Threads
just
Meta.
Like Threads,
yeah, which is weird because Instagram's not a company; it's an app.
They're like piggybacking off of the user base of Instagram to help build this. Yeah.
And the way that, because people have asked, what am I using this for versus stories and posts and whatever on Instagram? Because I can essentially do the same thing there. I can post a picture with text and then people can comment and people can reply to those comments. And people can find those publicly by searching things. And on Threads, you're basically doing the same thing, except the text is like the first thing you see. And the photos and the videos are the second thing, or the embedded links or whatever are the second things that you see. So it's just kind of like the inverse of it. And so Instagram's Zuckerberg and the guy who runs Instagram's kind of explanation for it is Instagram is more like sharing things, like interacting with people, but it's more like seeing their photos and videos. And Threads is more about having a discussion about something.
I see. Okay.
So,
gotcha. Do you see this being successful?
So yeah. So I think it was like ChatGPT who broke the record for the most adopted application, right? So I saw a graph. It was 1 million users within 1 day, I believe it was. Yeah. And Threads had, I think it was almost 10 million users in 1 day.
Which makes sense because if you have an Instagram, it's really easy to make an account or to like sign up for Threads.
So that kind of shows, it's interesting because I don't think Facebook's ever made their own app besides Facebook. Facebook has always acquired other companies. Facebook bought Instagram from someone. And WhatsApp. And there are other products like...
well, they have Messenger.
Quest.
Messenger is its own app.
Yeah, but it kind of was in Facebook. They just broke it out.
It broke it out, yeah.
And
Boomerang,
like
was an
Messenger
Instagram
is still in Facebook on your on your computer. I think it's just like a mobile app that integrates with, but it's your Facebook account. Threads, it's a different account. You're creating a different account. It's just through your Instagram account. So, but it's kind of cool because it shows that Facebook or any other Google can create an application on their own and have a huge adoption of that application. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, I think it's a lot of like the first people who were on it were companies, influencers, celebrities,
right? People who
have a stake in the game.
Stake in the game to make it work. Yeah, I have my doubts with anybody who's trying to do a text first application to beat out Reddit or Twitter. There's a situation that happens with like easeability or just usability. It's really hard for people to learn something new if it's like a very similar thing.
Yeah, I think there's like no learning curve. It's like Twitter. It's like the same thing.
Yeah,
it's like looks the same. It works the same.
But people who
in
are
fact,
using
Twitter sent Meta cease and desist.
Did they?
Yeah, because
that's funny.
They said that they have a high confidence that Meta acquired confidential information about the inner workings of Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oof. Like, didn't they leak their source code or something like that?
I don't know.
Twitter, didn't they? Oh, I
idea.
thought they were making it open source.
Open source? I haven't heard that. No.
Okay.
I think Facebook is the only like platform that's like done the open source thing. I mean, it's not Facebook, but Meta. I guess they made their large language model Llama.
Oh yeah.
They made that open source.
Well, I mean, like all those tech companies have open source frameworks and stuff, but like
in the form of what, APIs and stuff.
Yeah. So like Red Hat, Oracle, Google, Netflix. They all have, like, Netflix built a framework that's like uses like as a concept of circuit breakers where you can build software that's kind of more resilient.
Yeah.
And they just threw it out there.
Yeah. Twitter did something back in the day called Bootstrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they developed that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So a lot of people use that.
Yeah, it was based on Twitter's early UI, and they made it open source for all the web developers to use to help basically Twitterify the internet, which it worked. That was the big UI library that you could adopt and to make your website look nice.
Yeah.
In the day.
Yeah,
I don't know if a lot of people still use it.
Right. How did it like help them though?
It made people more familiar with their user interface.
Oh,
because they were using similar buttons. They were using so people, if we can make other platforms and websites use our similar UI, then people would adopt Twitter easier. Yeah,
that's interesting. I never thought about that. Because a lot of the internet looks the same.
Yeah. Nowadays it does.
Old pages look old.
Yeah.
You can tell, but the Gmail and Facebook and Twitter
Gmail needs to update their shit. They're falling behind.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, email clients are always older looking.
Yeah.
I think it's because they have a pretty large older population and that don't like change as much.
I have a hard time using Gmail.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
The desktop client.
Oh,
yeah.
They have a desktop client. It's just in Google. It's in Chrome,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Oh, yeah,
that's what I meant.
The only thing I don't like about Gmail, well, there's two things I don't like about Gmail. Is number one, Gmail doesn't have a concept of folders. They use labels, which I hate.
Yes, that is. I have noticed that. And this is maybe because I'm so used to using Outlook. Like, to me, Outlook is like the king of internet client, email clients.
Yeah, probably.
It just they've figured it out, in my opinion.
It's been around forever.
Yeah, and it's been around. Yeah. They've had some time. They've had some time, and then I go over to use Gmail, and I'm like, I can't even fucking use this. This is fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's good. So there's that, and then also, I don't know why they haven't figured this out. It blows my fucking mind, but they show you the oldest email at the top.
Yes.
And there's no way to change it.
Oh my God, I hate
Right?
that shit. I'm like, I had to like scroll all the way to the
Yes.
bottom. And then they'll like collapse most of your chain. And then I had to like click on it, and then like it's so hard
And
to
it goes-
find a
it
specific
goes-
email. If I'm looking for an email from somebody, it takes me twice as long to
Yeah.
find it.
Because you search for it and it brings
Yeah.
up the email chain, but it doesn't bring up the actual
the specific
message.
message.
It's so
Like,
bad.
Fuck you.
And I don't understand it. Like we can't have been the first people who have complained about
No,
this.
and you got to imagine, besides like the Google search engine, I'm trying to think of another Google platform or product that's more widely used than Gmail.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely their second most used.
So why are they just being all lackadaisy with it?
I know it doesn't make sense. It's
Like,
so bad.
I have seen like 7 iterations of Outlook over the years, and each time they do something different, I'm like, I don't know if I like this, and then I end up liking it.
Yeah.
Like, and they do small increments of change, but Gmail, you just gotta like, you just gotta change. You gotta get with it, or else you're gonna be fall behind.
Yeah, it's weird.
But it's so easy to sign up for. They've really figured that out.
Yeah.
Like to create a new Gmail, it's like two seconds you can do it.
Yeah, it's really easy. I think that's why there's a lot of spam accounts.
Yeah.
Like so many.
So many.
I
Yeah.
think they probably have billions of accounts or something.
It's got to
Let's
be,
see.
right? Oh, 100% they have over like, I want to say 10 billion. 10
You
billion
think
accounts.
count
I
at
want
10
to say it's
billion?
like 10 billion accounts, yeah.
Let's see.
The number one used platform in
No.
the world. No?
It's
What?
1.8 billion.
Come on.
Yeah.
Fake news.
But probably like 20% of those are at least
At
20%
yeah.
bots, because
Imagine how many of the dead people.
I get spam comments like on our blog and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always from a Gmail account.
Yes.
And
Always.
a lot of the spam that I get that goes into my spam folder in
Yeah.
Gmail
Mm.
are from Gmail
Yeah.
accounts.
You don't need a phone number or an email address, another email address to sign up.
Mm.
All you need is your first and last name, which you can fake.
And to know what a bicycle looks like.
Yeah, and you just need to pass a captcha test to sign up for it, and then you're golden. You're in, baby.
Yeah.
Start sending emails right away.
Yeah. It's not. They'll fix it.
Yeah, it'll. I mean, that's at some point there's a reckoning headed for Google. You know.
Yeah, they learned that, I think.
Yeah, they were like, oh no, they've just been sitting pretty for a while.
Yeah. They've definitely tried things. They're I don't know. I think Google's not that good at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they came out with a search engine, which was the way they did it was revolutionary, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I still think it's better than any other search engine I've ever used.
I agree.
And they harvest the shit out of your data. They came out with Chrome, and arguably Chrome has dominated. It's a really good internet browser.
Mm-hmm. I don't use it anymore, but I did use it for a long time, and
Yeah.
I really, really liked it.
I mean, Firefox has gotten really good.
Yes, that's what I use now.
Safari, I don't think is very good.
No.
And Edge and Internet Explorer, then Edge was
Yeah.
never really that good. Internet Explorer was always the worst. But anyway, so those are that, and then Gmail were the three things they've had for a really long time now, like a really long time. They came out with was it Spaces or whatever, Google Spaces?
No,
or
it was Google Plus.
Google Plus. That's what
Yeah.
it was. Their social network,
Mhm.
which I think still exists.
No,
no,
it
it's
does
gone.
not.
Okay,
Yeah.
they came out with a phone,
Yes.
which is like not that used.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
I knew one person who had it, the Pixel.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had done some other Google Docs, the G Suite. That's
the
actually
G Suite's
used quite a
pretty good.
bit.
Yeah, and a lot of they did a smart thing, and they went after corporations
Right.
to basically adopt it, because what are you going to be using most? It's what you're using at work,
Mhm.
right? And so if you use it at work, you become familiar with it, then you adopt everything else.
Yeah,
I still like Microsoft suites better than,
Oh, yeah.
but
totally.
what's great about Google is they've done everything in the cloud, which is also kind of scary.
Yeah. I mean, I have a G Suite account for our business.
Yeah.
So we have our own domain, and then we have an email account through that we use with our domain. And so we get access to, we get some extra space through Drive, and then we get access, just some different business features, but it's mainly around the email. But I store all of our stuff through Drive because I can access it anywhere. Yeah. And it's super redundant. So I know that if something crashes, I'm not going to lose all that documentation, and it's great. And it's really nice because just like any of the other Dropbox type things, you can share things in there. So you can, if I have to deliver assets to a customer or something, I can put them in a folder and then just make that folder shareable to them.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. I like Google Drive, and Sheets is good.
Yeah, it's decent.
It's not Excel.
Yeah.
Docs is good. It's not Word, but it's good.
Yeah.
And then what's their? Is it Slides? No, that's Apple. Do they have like a PowerPoint alternative?
Yeah, they do. They do for sure.
I don't know anybody who uses that though.
Yeah.
Actually, I lie. I do know somebody who uses it.
I don't know if I know anyone who uses it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have Docs, Sheets. It is called Slides.
Oh, it's Slides. Okay.
Yeah.
One of them?
I actually have one called Forms, which is a survey builder, but I've never.
Oh, I've used Google Forms before.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was free.
Yeah.
A lot of those survey clients, they like want you to sign up.
Yeah, that's true. And then they have Google Meet, which I don't really know anyone who uses that.
I don't know anybody who uses that.
Pretty much everyone uses Microsoft Teams. If they
or Zoom,
if they care about their presence.
Yes.
Or they use Zoom if they want to be cheap.
Yes. Yeah. Teams is good. A lot of people will shit on it, but for what it does, and most of the time it's pretty stable.
I think it's a lot better than Zoom.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I like the interface a lot better than Zoom. Sometimes I have a hard time navigating Zoom. I'm like, how do you do this in Zoom?
I think that Teams, which I think was kind of developed from Skype.
Yes, because Microsoft owns Skype.
Yeah, and Skype
still exists.
Yeah, it does.
Which is weird.
In fact, my company used it as their
main form.
Yeah, their internal chat, customer calls, and all that for a while. So they had that, and I think they had Link, which I think was like Skype for Business or whatever.
Yes.
And then I think Teams came out after that, and then I think it became mature enough where in the last couple of years it's pretty good.
Now, if you are trying to Skype me, you're scamming me. You're just a scammer.
Nobody's on
using Skype. You're just trying to scam me, bro.
I had to check if it still exists.
It does still exist.
Really?
You know what the other one is too? WebEx, which is a Cisco product.
That one's the fucking worst.
It's so bad.
It's worse than Skype.
It's worse than Skype. But I remember using Skype. That was the first big video chat client.
Oh, yeah.
On the internet.
Skype was great.
Yeah.
It was great for a long time. And then they, I think, just didn't innovate enough.
No.
So it was like, even when I was using it 4 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago at my company, I would send someone a link. And it would take a good minute before the link sent because it processes it, tries to scrape the metadata so it can display a picture or whatever.
Like a thumbnail and stuff. Yeah.
And then sends it to him. I'm like, are you fucking serious? This is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Teams also, what's good about it is you can call people. If you like want to, you don't have to like send them a link or anything. You just be like, oh, I'm going to call this person on Teams. And you can also, it's like Teams is trying to be now trying to be Slack, like what and all the other big Slack clients.
Yeah,
that's what they're trying to do. So you can there's a file sharing system. There's a chat. There's like groups that you can create. There's like of course like the main feature is the video chat. But you can do all of those things in Teams. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. The only time I've ever used it, I don't think I even have an account.
Yeah.
Which I think if you just have a Microsoft account, you have an account, right?
Yeah.
Or is there a separate account?
Yeah. And I think it's free to use.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, kind of like Zoom.
Yeah.
If you just want to have a personal call.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever used it is for customers who have it, and then I have to join their teams.
A lot of companies, what they were using before, it was SharePoint. Do you know SharePoint?
Oh my
Microsoft
God.
SharePoint.
Oh, it's fucking.
So they're like legacying that out, and people are now just going to use Teams because
Okay.
that's what SharePoint. You could do a lot of things, and there's actually like developers
For SharePoint.
for
Yeah.
just for SharePoint.
Yeah, because you could essentially create web pages in
Yeah.
SharePoint. So you can do
like
that in
intranet.
Teams?
Yeah. Well, not quite, but you wouldn't need to.
Because it's kind of like Confluence is used like that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, Confluence I think is owned by the same company as Jira, Atlassian.
Yeah.
I found this article that said that Skype, and this is from 2020.
Okay.
So mind you, the pandemic. Skype reaches 40 million daily active users. Usage is up 70%.
Yeah. Well, that's because of the demi.
Yeah, but still 40 million people used it in 2020. What the hell?
I wonder where Teams would be if the demi never happened. Same with Zoom. I mean, any of these like video clients.
Yeah.
Like, what would we still be using?
I remember the Zoom's stock price went
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
during the pandemic.
Yeah. Anybody who was like buying heavy into Zoom before the demi knew the demi was coming. That
Yeah.
guy's from the future. Dude.
Yeah, right.
That guy's from the future.
So like all the politicians.
Anybody who was shorting like Carnival cruise lines.
Yeah.
You know, just like,
We should look into that.
When were you
We
born?
can actually find out who is the time
yeah,
traveler.
right. I'd be interested to find out.
Yeah, but it had to have been. You have to time it right because they could have been like working for the Chinese government, you know, and I think the Chinese government may have known about it like a while ago.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
they might have.
Oh, we're not supposed to say anything bad about them,
No,
right?
you can now. It's cool. It's cool.
Oh, we can?
The United States was like, we're looking into it.
Oh yeah,
Before they were like, don't even talk about it.
right? Because I think they caused it now.
I don't know. I haven't read up on the latest consensus.
I
of
think
all
it was
that.
basically like
Randy.
they were
Marsh.
like there's a high there's a high chance that they could have caused it, but we don't know.
right, yeah.
Something
There's like
like
we
that.
can't definitively pinpoint this, but like we're more sure than we're not sure.
But why, I never understood why people ever got so upset about that argument.
I think there's like a few components to it. Like first, it's like the xenophobia, the rise of xenophobia.
Yeah.
Like people were getting upset. Like if you were blaming China, then that's like somehow racist.
Yeah, but it's a country. We're not blaming Chinese people.
Yeah, but like,
I know some people don't
care
understand that.
or
Yeah,
understand
I know.
that. Yeah. So it's just like a blanket statement. A lot of like those things are just blanket statements nowadays. It's not
Right.
very nuanced discussion around that. But yeah, I think it was that. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of like geopolitical influence happening. Like
Yeah.
Facebook operates in China.
No, they
No,
don't.
they don't. No, but like there's
Tesla
probably
does.
a lot of like
Tesla
money,
does.
China money involved with like advertising, right, on Facebook.
Probably.
Yeah, probably, right? I don't know. Yeah, there's definitely a few things.
Yeah, probably everyone has an agenda, and it's all based on money.
What?
I figured that out. I was thinking about it last night, and I was like,
What?
shit, I think I figured this out.
And here you are on a podcast.
Telling the world about it.
Gotta let the people know.
Guys,
that
you have to believe me.
everything is
The
controlled by
election
money.
was stolen.
It was all about the money.
I have the proof. Me and Donald have the proof.
We have the proof. The proof is in Wuhan.
The proof is in Wuhan. It's been covered up.
Covered.
I mean, you gotta. It's been 3 years. They covered it up.
Yeah.
It's gone. There's no more.
They put the
evidence.
coronavirus in.
What
the
happened to
Bud
Fauci?
Lights.
Did he get murdered?
I think he just got tired of all the hate.
Yeah. He's like, fuck this. Why
He's
am I
like,
here?
this is an impossible thing.
He wanted to be in that position because he wanted the power, right? And then
Why does anybody want to
and
be in
then-
that position?
I think it's like a ego thing.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
definitely.
You know, if he's the guy that the fucking
Everybody's
U.S.
looking
is.
yeah.
Yeah. To all the people he ever worked with throughout his career.
Yeah.
Who probably. I mean, I'm sure there were people that he butted heads with.
I'd be interested to see, like, if you could run a simulation and, like, based on that whole event, like the whole what transpired from like the beginning to like, you know, now.
Mm-hmm.
And you like took Fauci aside and you're like, would you do it differently?
Oh,
Would you do it the same way?
yeah.
I'd be interested to see like his response.
I can imagine that he probably has some regrets about some things for sure.
Yeah.
Like there may have been some things that maybe he said that
Or like the
people
lies.
took too literal.
Yeah.
The lies.
The lies. I don't know. Some people, they go into it like, oh, what's for the good of the people?
Right.
I did it with good intentions.
Like they said that masks were bad at first, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
There was a thing where they were like, you shouldn't wear masks.
Right.
Even though they knew that
No, they said, yeah, right? Yeah, they said.
Yeah, I think it was that you shouldn't buy masks because they wanted to conserve
like
them
that.
for the medical community.
I have redacted most of the pandemic out of my mind.
Have you?
I think a lot of the bad parts, yeah. I say that very like tongue in cheek, but like parts of it, I think back and I'm like, oh, that seems so long ago, and like I really have to like meditate on it to really bring back like all those feelings and things that are happening. And I think I've like subconsciously just kind of like moved on from that.
Yeah.
In some ways. In some ways not.
I have.
In some ways I have.
I think I remember most of it, like getting yelled at by a lady on a bridge.
On a bridge for not wearing a mask?
No, I got too close to her by accident.
By accident?
Yeah.
How dare you? People got testy.
Dude, so testy.
Yeah.
Like, chill, lady. You're wearing a mask.
The fuck out, dude.
Yeah.
You're still alive.
I probably wasn't wearing one. I might have been wearing one. It was Boston, so everyone was wearing one.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I wasn't.
My doctor's office, I went a month ago, and I went yesterday. A month ago, they're still requiring masks.
Yeah.
Yesterday, not anymore.
Oh, really? That's weird.
Right? Like, what happened? Just enough time passed? Did you guys just feel more comfortable?
Was everyone wearing a mask?
Yeah, they
though?
required it. They said
you had to wear one.
Yeah, they had like mass bins at the reception, and you had to put one on. In
Yeah.
fact, I showed up and I like didn't read the sign. I just walked in. I don't know. I was just like maybe busy or distracted one day.
Right.
And they were like, "Yeah, can you put on a mask?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, can you put a mask on? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I will, but like, why?
Yeah. I think I went to my PCP like 6 months ago at this point, and I had to wear one at that time. Yeah.
I wonder if they're getting directive from some higher source, but I thought all that went away.
I feel like it might have just been like it was easy because they see a lot of sick people.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's stupid.
It's like the guy at the pharmacy that I go to.
Mm-hmm.
I see him almost every time. I go once a month at least.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time, every month, even I went yesterday and he was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because he is the guy who interfaces with everyone.
Yeah, I feel like if I were to deal with sick people all the time, I probably would want to wear a mask.
Yeah, but the thing is, I just don't know how those people do it. That's so long.
I know.
All day long.
They get used to it. Some
Yeah,
people have a high
acne.
tolerance for some stuff like that.
I don't know. Your ears hurt. There's a lot of people who get acne from it.
I don't know how people stand on their feet all day, but they do it.
They don't. Who does that?
Retail workers.
They're lazy.
They take breaks.
They sit down.
They take breaks.
I'm just kidding. They're not lazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I said
wow.
that. It was a joke.
It's a joke.
Yeah, especially the older ones, at the checkout.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they got stools.
Sometimes.
Granny's sometimes sitting while she's ringing out your Target order.
Yeah.
That's fine. Hey, take a load off. Why do you have to stand when you're at the cashier?
You know what's crazy?
Is it helping you? Is it helping Target?
You know what's weird?
Huh.
I was in Canada this past couple weeks, and every single place that I went, every place, the gas station, the grocery store, had a tip jar or the tip on the console.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Tip the cashier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a restaurant the other night. It was like a built-in 22%. and then they give you, and then you
built-in.
give them the credit card, and they spit out the bill, and then there's another line for tip. I'm
So if you don't
"What
know, if
the
you don't
fuck?"
notice, yeah.
But they tell you when they sit you down, hey, just want to let you know there's a hospitality fee of 22%. It
Oh.
goes to all the staff,
To all the staff.
back of house, front of house, everybody.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's not always the case, right?
Yeah, sometimes
goes to the server?
if you're not in a shared tip pool situation, yeah,
Yeah.
it could just be bartenders.
The
wait
tipping thing I think is a bit out of control. It
I don't mind going to a restaurant and they're like, "Hey, we charge 22%."
That's
That's
fine.
fine.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
tipping more.
yeah.
Like, but yeah, sure.
Actually,
it actually makes it easy because I don't have to calculate shit at the end of the bill.
Yeah, that's the thing is I'd like it to be 20%. And
Yeah.
if you want to add more, then you can add more.
And also though, the service wasn't that great, so I was like,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Because-
But they did at the on the menu, they stated that, and then underneath they're like, if you do not wish to participate in this, please ask your server, and we'll remove it from the bill.
Yeah. I'm sure there's people who actually ask. But what's irritating is like tipping is a percentage.
Tipping doesn't have to be percentage. Percentage was created to
No.
give a baseline.
Yeah, I know. But in general, it's a percentage. Like when you go to a restaurant,
Right.
I think that they used
There's
to be
like a golden rule.
It was like 18, or it was like
15.
15 to 25%.
Yeah.
Is that you would tip somewhere in there. And I think most people, when they go to a restaurant, they probably tip 20%.
Yeah.
Like just as a standard. And now people are saying you should tip more than that, actually. And I'm like, food's gotten more expensive, bro. Like your labor has gotten more expensive, and they factor that into the cost of the food. Like when I go to the restaurant, it's a lot more expensive than it used to be. So why does the percentage of the tip need to go up?
Yeah.
The money, like the percentage the amount you get goes up when the cost of the food goes up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, it does. It does. It's like you ever go to a fine restaurant and you're like paying like 100, like so much money in tip. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's insane.
But here, let me ask you this. Do you tip off the subtotal or the tax total?
Yeah, I think you're supposed to tip on the non-tax total, but I just usually tip on the whole
So do
thing.
I. And I never really thought about this until like maybe 6 months ago. I was I would just always tipped on the grand total, never the subtotal.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had never really thought about it.
Yeah, that's why when
I was like, why would I tip you on on Uncle Sam's share?
yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's like being taxed on tax.
Yeah.
So it'd be like if the federal government had a tax, or it was like if you have state and federal taxes, you don't pay tax on, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but when you go get sales tax, you have like the city tax, and then you have the town tax, and then the county tax.
Yeah.
And they don't all double up. It's just
It's not
based on-
compounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I wonder how, if this is how this works. When you stay at a resort, there's like the room charge, the resort fee, and then local and federal taxes.
Yeah.
Are you being taxed on the resort fee? Right?
I
Never
would-
thought about that.
Yeah. I feel like you probably are.
You probably are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd never looked too much into that, because that would be a compounded fee.
Yeah. Also, what about like when you tip the valet, for instance?
Yeah, well, that's cash. That's all like underreported or
yeah,
unreported.
Yeah, it's unreported. It shouldn't be, but it's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But for instance, if to valet your car, it costs $5. The company has to pay sales tax on $5, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
yes. Even if you're purchasing
They have
a service?
They have to.
Is that only if you're purchasing a good or a service too?
If that tip is reported in their revenue, they have to pay. Well, first off, they have to pay wage taxes.
Wage taxes, yeah.
Yes.
But what about sales tax?
I don't.
Because the service.
Oh,
maybe
I
it's
don't
different.
know. That's a good question.
Because, like, what if you, to get around paying taxes on food, for instance, at a restaurant, what if you were like, the food's only $10, but the service is $40.
Yeah, they get around. Well, wage taxes is way more than sales tax.
Yeah, you are right, but
So you wouldn't want to do that.
yeah, that doesn't make sense. That's how they got around it.
That's how they got around
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
they solved the problem.
Capitalism,
They
baby.
closed the loophole. Yeah, I don't know, but it pisses me off. Like you know what pisses me off?
Mm.
When I go to the fucking grocery store or it's Quick Mart at the airport and there's nobody working there and it's a self-checkout and it asks me for a tip.
Yeah, that's fucked up. But I also think that's a default setting on the machine.
Yeah,
that nobody's turned
Yeah, it
off.
probably is, but like the local airport's not the only one I've seen that at.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And also, yeah, I saw that somewhere else recently. I can't remember where, but like when you're getting frozen yogurt and like you pour your own frozen yogurt and put your own toppings on, and then you check out.
Yeah. And they try to tip you.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's fucked up. That's a little out.
Like I would rather tip the person who packages my groceries.
Tipping is for like a service-based industry.
Right.
And it's hard to understand how frozen yogurt, self-serve frozen yogurt, qualifies under that. I just don't see that.
Because they're like, oh, but they're cleaning the nozzles and they're refilling the thing. But when I go to the grocery store, like they're fucking cleaning the ground.
Exactly.
And they're restocking the shelves.
That's why we need to pay our grocery guys a little bit more. Gals too. Gals, guys, non-binaries.
I don't care what they pay them. Pay them whatever the market demands. But like, stop charging me more.
Stop.
Just put it in the price.
The consumer.
Put it in the price of the food. Just
Yeah.
put it in the price of the food.
Right.
That's all I ask.
Right.
Like if I go,
I want to see the study on that though. Does higher food prices or higher service fees detract more?
Yeah, that's a good question because a lot of people say that Iceland is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, it was around the same cost to eat at a nice restaurant there as it was in the U.S. because you don't tip in Iceland.
I want to say it would be the higher food items, and here's why. Because before you do any transactions, that's the first thing you see. Because if you go to a restaurant and you get the menu and you sit down and you're like, oh my God, that's an $80 steak. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You're not thinking about what on the back end after you eat the steak that you got to pay the waiter for bringing you the steak and taking your order and taking care of you.
Well, that's definitely why they do it because there's going to be restaurants. If someone just decided all of a sudden, hey, I'm not going to do tips and I'll pay my people more and I'll build it into the cost of the food, people are going to go to the other restaurant because it'll look cheaper for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of, did you see that Casa Bonita is not doing tipping?
They're not tipping?
They're paying their employees $30 an hour.
That's so. I wonder what the.
They're not that happy. The employees.
The employees.
Yeah.
They don't want the $30 an hour.
I think they'd rather have tips.
Interesting. I wonder if you could make more money if you're working an 8-hour shift. You're making $30 an hour. What's that? $150.
Sure.
Okay. I'm trying to understand how much you could potentially make. Bartenders at a nice restaurant could make $400 a night easy.
Yeah.
There's no bartenders at Casa Bonita. There never was. So there's just wait staff. Wait staff at a nice restaurant could also pull in similar kind of money.
All right.
So I could see.
Do you think the food at Casa Bonita is going to be that expensive?
I think it's like $30 a plate.
$30 a plate,
Mm-hmm.
you think?
Yeah.
But no alcohol? They'll have alcohol, yeah.
Yeah, they have alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
But there's not like a bar.
I see.
I don't think. I mean, I haven't been to the newly imagined reopened place, but
so yeah. Also, I kind of wonder because people always complain about people who don't tip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if people really complain about it that often, it must be an actual problem.
It could be, and I don't imagine that the crowd going to Casa Bonita is a one that is of sophisticated, high class, wealthy type people.
Right.
So maybe there would be a problem with the tips coming in.
Yeah, but that's the thing is it sounded like the employees would rather have the tips. Wouldn't you rather just have a guaranteed income?
I guess it depends. I mean, if that's the case, go work somewhere else. I don't know to tell you. That's capitalism. There, you know, like
I like it.
They're not required to create a shared tip pool or a tipping program.
Yeah,
you have to pay your employees more,
right.
Which is it sounds like what they're doing. If you're making $30 an hour waiting tables, no tip. I guess it just depends. I don't know.
I like it. It's nice.
It's an interesting experiment to see. I want to see how that turns out for them in the long run.
It's nice to not have to calculate in your head how much something is costing you.
It is kind of nice, but I would also feel not so great. I also wonder like what kind of culture that creates, like the hospitality. Like, are you like the thing with tipping is it generates a
I don't know. It's fine in countries that don't do it. Like I experienced it in Iceland. I've experienced it in parts of Europe where they don't tip, and
you're right.
The dining experience has been fine.
When I was in Japan, you don't tip either,
right.
And the service was pretty good. Huh.
That's the thing is I don't need a server who is gonna like chat and be nice to me. I just want them to like recommend some things. If I have questions about the menu, they answer the menu or they answer the questions, and then they refill drinks. They bring the food.
Yeah.
They bring it out in a good presentation, so not like appetizer and meal at the same time.
But aren't quid pro quos so much better?
No.
I scratch your back, you scratch my back.
The problem is that doesn't happen. I've had bad service more often.
Well, that's the thing is if there's bad service, there's bad tips. So it creates a self-correcting system, right?
No.
If you're a bad server,
because I still have to tip some.
No, you don't. Literally, it's optional.
Yeah, it's literally optional. But have you ever gone to a restaurant and had bad service and not tipped at all?
Yes. If you forget to bring my food in and you bring out my significant other's food and leave me hanging, you don't get a tip.
At all?
At all.
I've heard that's bad to do.
What? To forget my order and not ring it in?
No.
Why am I paying?
To not tip. No, that's just what I've heard. What I've heard is you should never tip 0, but it should be a sliding scale.
If I have a truly awful experience.
Sure. Have you ever had a truly awful experience?
Yes.
They forgot your food. Okay.
Yes.
But truly awful.
I can't pay you. I actually won't even pay for the food either. I'm like, don't. If they come back and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to put your food in. I'm like, it's okay. I don't want it anymore.
But they still bring it to you?
No.
Oh, you should still eat it.
Because I told them I don't. I'm leaving.
I
also probably won't even pay for the food that you already brought out either.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I probably would, but it usually gets comped. I've actually never been in a situation where I'm like, I'm not paying for this.
So I had something. It was like they didn't forget anything, but Sarah's meal, the fish was like a little too raw, and so we asked them if they could cook it a bit longer, and the waitress goes, "Oh yeah, let me ask the chef about it." She brought it back, and she came back and she's like, "Oh yeah, he's really sorry about it. He's gonna cook a new one," which means he fucked up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, then I ate my entire meal. I had shared it with her, but and then hers came out.
Yeah.
But they took that off the bill.
Yes.
But I paid for everything else still.
See, that is in hospitality, that is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
There's books written basically on how to remedy a situation like that. If you fuck up and you want them to come back, you need to take care of them.
Yeah, I was surprised about that place because it was at this lodge that like is always packed anyway. So I was like, do they really care that much? It's kind of weird. It's like going to Disney World.
There's the returning customer, but there's also just the reputation of the place. Because when you leave, you're gonna go.
But it's the only place
talk to your friends.
It's the only place to stay there, though.
There's only
like in the area to see this.
People don't have to stay there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a complex situation, but
I
basically,
understand what you're saying.
basically
'cause
you're
you
kind
told
of
me
forced into staying it if you
Right.
want a certain experience.
Right.
And so they're always going to have customers.
I can tell you though, Casa Bonita did the same thing. You had to buy an entree, and people getting sick. It was a terrible experience, and they went bankrupt. So I can tell you how it
Oh,
goes.
is that a thing? If you went in, you had to buy an entree?
Yeah, it was a requirement. It was
Yeah.
like a one
They don't
plate
have that
minimum.
anymore.
I think they still do
People
have
were getting
that.
sick, and you took me there and had me buy an entree.
Yeah, because it was an
I'm just
experience.
kidding. The diver was worth it.
See,
The diver was.
I am the type of customer that you're explaining to, but it obviously doesn't work long term, right?
It's the sopapillas, I know.
It's the sopa fucking pias,
They use
dude.
untainted oil to fry them.
Shit, we're almost at 2 hours. Should we wrap it up? This is a good start to season 2, baby.
Season 3.
Or season 3. See, I'm already messed up.
Yeah. So
This
you lay off
one
the
cocktail
drinks.
really screwed me up, man.
We're going to have more drinks, better drinks than we've ever had before.
Larger drinks, ginormous drinks.
So stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram.
Yep.
We're now on Twitter because we're controversial.
Yeah, we're trying to be edgy.
Yeah.
Holla at your boy.
We're posting bad stuff on there.
We're posting naughty stuff. We're posting pictures of your grandma's gravestone.
Like the other day I tweeted, "We hate Ronald McDonald."
Damn. Take that, McDonald's.
Exactly.
Fuck you. No, don't spread hate. Spread love.
Yeah, love Barney.
We love all you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for coming on. And please, like Miles said, check out our Instagram. The photo and the recipe of the drink we're drinking today is going to be on there when this episode comes out. So please hang out with us. Make your own cocktails at home. We're really simple to make, not very complicated. That's our thing. That's what we're going to continue to do. Bring you tasty, approachable cocktails. Maybe we'll sprinkle in a few fancy ones now and then. Just keep things a little lively, things a little spicy. Something that's, if you guys want to take it to the next level, we'll be there right there with you to do. But for the most part, we're making stuff that you can go out to your local liquor store, pick up on a whim's notice. So hang out with us. Pull up a drink. Sit back. Pull us up on YouTube. Maybe background noise for you guys. We love y'all.
Listen to us before bed.
Yeah.
I've been told I have a voice that will put you to sleep.
Damn. We need to get on that Calm app. We need to be... we need to start talking in a nice, smooth, and calm voice.
If you'd like, I'll rub your back for you.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching on YouTube. And until next time, adios. Yes. Bye.
Go to bed.